Within the past year, I have put out 3 videos that are somewhat in sort of a series. The first one was about a Super Mario Odyssey theme in Super Mario Maker 2, and this came out all the way back when we thought Nintendo was going to consistently update Mario Maker for more than 2 updates. Oh, how naive we were. A few months later, I made the second video talking about how Super Mario 64 could be a theme in Mario Maker 2. Then Nintendo announced the final update, meaning that we wouldn't be getting any more themes in Mario Maker 2 because we're not getting any more major updates. However, in that Super Mario 64 video, I offhandedly mentioned making a similar one, but for Super Mario Galaxy, and you guys really wanted to see it. So even though there's literally zero possibility of it actually happening, I still made a video talking about it just because it's something fun to speculate about. But now we're done. I mean, the only possible other game would be Super Mario Sunshine, and that's the least likely 3D Mario game to get a style in Super Mario Maker 2. On top of that, Mario Maker 2 isn't getting any more updates, so there's feasibly no way that this could ever happen. I mean, it's not even worth talking about. Yup, definitely not making that a video. Okay, it's really fun to speculate about this, so even though it's never gonna happen, let's just talk about it.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
There's 3 main things that need to be discussed when talking about a Sunshine theme in Mario Maker 2. The first would be Mario's moveset, the second would be the implementation of Flood, and the third would be the various enemies and Super Mario Sunshine specific items. The moveset is the simplest, so we'll start out with that. Throughout his myriad of adventures, Bing Bing Wahoo Man has a really standard and unified moveset. Sure, there are slight changes from here and there, but overall it's generally the same thing. I would say you could pretty much take the Super Mario 3D World theme and implement that moveset to the Sunshine theme. Mario classics such as the ground pound, wall jump, triple jump, somersault, all that stuff would be there with one main addition of the slide, or slip slide. Essentially this happened when you pressed B on the GameCube controller. It just kinda let you do this little dive thing, and if you mashed this with A, you'd do a front somersault, which would make you go pretty fast. It was a great way to build up momentum in Sunshine, and it would be perfect in a 2D Mario game. So yeah, while the moveset overall would be really standard, there is something else that the player would probably have control over, which would really set the Sunshine theme apart.
Fox 5 Morning News starts. Look over there.
And it starts right now!
Serving all of San Diego.
The Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dowsing Device, or FLUDD, was Super Mario Sunshine's main gimmick, and oh man, this thing is... it's a thing.
This appears to be quite a predicament, Mario.
Apart from pulling a Spider-Man and Infinity War at the end of Mario Sunshine's plot, FLUDD was a multi-purpose water pack that essentially acted as Mario's main gimmick throughout Sunshine. It allowed Mario to douse paint-covered enemies and simultaneously hover in midair, something completely foreign to the 3D platforming genre at the time. However, in terms of 2D games, let's just tell it how it is. This would be the exact same thing as Jetpack Joyride. Let's go, this game is awesome. For those of you guys who somehow don't know, Jetpack Joyride is a mobile game developed by Half Brick, the same people who made Fruit Ninja, which is literally one of the greatest games of all time. Like, I will fight that to the death. Essentially, you control this dude named Barry and you have a jetpack, tap to go up. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Slap FLUDD on Mario in a 2D space, make that level an auto-scroller, and bam, you got yourself Jetpack Joyride. Now, that's not a bad thing at all. Jetpack Joyride is really fun. It's just the core experience is so vastly different from what Mario is. It would change 2D Mario so drastically that it wouldn't really make sense to have that for 100% of the levels. That's where we bring in the nozzles. In Super Mario Sunshine, you could run into one of these EGAD boxes and you would essentially equip a different nozzle to your FLUDD. These nozzles would allow you to shoot things, run super fast, spray out a ton of water everywhere, or you guessed it, hover like with, well, the hover nozzle. Allowing players to swap out their nozzles mid-level would be a really interesting way of kind of replacing the power-up system. It would allow creators to have more control over the player's moveset for certain sections of levels, and it wouldn't overwhelm the players with having so many new options while you're controlling Mario in this one theme. However, speaking of new options, Super Mario Sunshine is probably the Mario game with the most unique assets. I mean, the entire game takes place on one island, Isle Delfino, which is pretty much never seen again. Its inhabitants, the Piantas, are never seen again in a mainline Mario game. Most of its enemies are relegated to obstacles in Mario Kart, however, they're all really cool and would work well in a 2D Mario game. Super Mario Sunshine's iconic palm trees could function as sort of semi-solid platforms. Mario Sunshine's specific enemies like Stroll and Stew or the Cataquacks would be so cool and work really well in a 2D space. I mean, just think of the Cataquacks, like their main gimmick fits perfectly. On top of that, what if you were able to place ink as a level creator on various parts of the level? Maybe you need to wall jump off a wall, but you can't because it's covered in this paint-like goop. So the player has to go find an EGAD box so they can switch to the squirt nozzle. Yes, that's actually what it's called. So they can go clear the path and wall jump to victory. I mean, seriously, at the start of this video, I was talking about how Super Mario Sunshine would be the weirdest possible implementation to a 2D Mario, and that's 100% true. I mean, hopefully what you've taken away from this video is that even if Mario Maker 3 comes out and they start doing stuff like this, Mario Sunshine would probably be the last theme to actually happen. It's so bizarre and out of left field, and it changes so much of 2D Mario, but not necessarily in a bad way. It just shakes up a lot of the preconceived notions of what we thought 2D Mario could be, but in terms of a raw game design standpoint, a lot of these ideas transfer over very well. So even though this is never going to happen, and I even made a joke in that elongated intro about how kind of dumb the concept of this video is because it is never going to happen, so why bother talking about it? This really is an interesting thing to speculate about. And hey, I'm not the most prolific game developer out there. In fact, I can barely fight my way through code, but hey, if someone who is interested in this sort of thing wants to make a 2D platformer, making a spiritual successor to Mario Sunshine in 2D, I mean, hey, that probably does already exist, just knowing the game development community, but it's a really inspiring idea that sounds like it would work well. With that out of the way, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Quickly before I head off, I do want to shout out a side project that me and PJ have been working really hard on. Our new podcast, Nintendo Tonight, is on its own specific channel now, and it's something we're really putting a lot of time and effort into, so hopefully you guys go check it out. It'll be linked in the description, obviously, and from there you can find it on iTunes and Spotify. We talk all stuff Nintendo, and it's just a great time. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Seriously, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm Thomas from The Switch Stop, signing off. Peace.